Here we go. Coming into week 8 here. Dom, how we feeling?
I feel all right. I mean, my college team's beating up right now, so I feel pretty good there. But
Yeah, can't be mad
overall,
about that.
I feel confident going into this week.
Yeah, fair
Got
enough.
some weird games, a lot of big projected blowouts on the week, so a couple
Yeah,
interesting ones we'll talk about.
doesn't look like it's going to be a great slate here this week.
Yeah, I mean, we have this
Don't love
Thursday
that.
night game, which is actually a good game.
Yeah, going on
Wish
as
we
we
got to
speak,
talk about
14
it
all.
before it started going.
Yeah.
Puka and Cup are back tonight, and Puka's looks like he wasn't even hurt for the last 6 weeks. So
Oh, good to know
good
because
on
he's
him.
still sitting on IR for me right now. Really appreciate that.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I played him in
Glad I saw
one
that.
league, and I benched him in the other.
Nice, yeah. I'm
So
just, I'm running around all day. Didn't even see that happen. Awesome.
yeah, four for 64 at half. Pretty good.
Great. Love that. But yeah, no, it looks like a good game going here right now. Like I said, I haven't even tuned in yet. Like, let me look at this box score right now. Yeah, I mean, desperate Rams right now. I think
Yeah,
it's
very
either,
desperate.
they kind of win here, right the ship a little bit, and maybe go on a run here with everybody healthy and really do a last dance thing, or they lose and just say to hell with it and blow the whole thing up. A
Yeah,
lot
I
of
mean,
rumors
I'm sure
swirling
there's a
around with
lot of
them.
yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of teams there looking at Cup, seeing what might be available here by tomorrow. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we talked about it a
Stafford
bit in
rumors too.
yesterday's episode. Yeah, I don't think there's really any validity to those rumors.
That's
I think
fair.
it's just some people talking just to talk and maybe getting bad information. I'm not buying into it, and maybe that's just me, but until it happens, it happens. But
Yeah, I was
I just
hearing Albert Breer talk
I just
about it,
don't
and he
think it
was like,
makes
I don't
sense.
know. He said he wasn't totally sure how, like, the accuracy of that. He's like,
Yeah,
however, you know, he kind of thinks that they want to blow it up a little bit,
yeah, but
especially if
nobody
this
wants to
season goes
blow it up.
sideways.
Yeah, blow it up in the off season, not now. It doesn't make sense. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, it's more so getting the most out of like what they have right now. I mean, Stafford's at least under contract for next year, and
Yeah,
Cup, he's not getting any younger, any healthier at this point. And those ankles
yeah.
have
And,
been
and
brutal
I
for
get
him.
like, yeah, if you're gonna trade somebody, trade Cup. That makes sense. It doesn't make sense to
Yeah.
trade away your quarterback and then blow everything. You don't really have that many pieces to really blow it up, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really just those two,
It
and
just
that's
makes
it.
sense, I guess, a little bit more for them because with McVay, they're never going to be a 2-win team or a 3-win team to get a number one pick. So, like,
Yeah.
getting a second number one pick is really valuable for them and being able to, like, package that to move up to get a younger guy if they
Yeah,
want
but
to. Again, you and we both know how we feel about this class, but, like,
yeah.
also, if any of these
Also, though,
guys end up with McVay, you feel a lot better about them.
you're probably not getting a number one pick for Stafford at this point. He's 36, going on 37, or he might
He's
even
a
be a little older.
quarterback and quarterback inflation.
Yeah,
He's a
but
proven guy.
it's not like it used to be.
That's fair.
I mean,
Yeah. I mean, like,
Rodgers
a
when
team
he
like
got traded at
Minnesota.
when Rodgers got traded at 38, he didn't get a first. That's just how it is, and he's a 4-time MVP. So
Yeah,
you
that's fair.
flip first and you give him a second, and even that I thought was too steep. So Stafford, not an MVP, won one Super Bowl with probably one of the better coaches in the NFL right now.
Also seems
It's
like he's a
different.
lot more capable of doing a lot more things than Rodgers is
Currently,
at this
yeah,
point.
at this point. But when
Yeah.
Rodgers was traded, that wasn't the case.
I mean, when Rodgers was traded, that was not a pretty year for him.
No, and he's still warranted what he did, and I still don't think
Yeah.
Stafford is him. Like I love Stafford, obviously,
Yeah.
but Stafford is not the same caliber of quarterback that Rodgers was in his prime.
That's
Stafford's
fair.
on the downturn. You're not getting Stafford when he got traded to the Rams. You're getting Stafford 4 or 5 years
Yeah, no,
removed at
I
that point.
totally agree with that. But I'm saying,
It's
like,
just
instead
not
of that,
warranted as a first rounder, is what I'm saying.
yeah, I would just, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody gave up A1 for him.
I would be shocked. I would be.
Well, agree to disagree. How about that?
Fair enough.
And it probably
Fair
won't
enough.
happen anyway. Yeah, because I would like the
No,
Rams to get
it
going
just don't.
here and
It
make
just
me
doesn't
feel
make
better
sense.
about how much I love them going into this year until injuries immediately derailed that season. Again, we said the only thing that was going to get in their way was injuries, and that happened literally week one. Everything went to shit for
Yeah,
until now. So, that's what it is. I don't know.
yeah.
Also
It's
intriguing
just
if Vikings lose back-to-back games out of the
out of the
bye
bye.
there. That gets a
Yeah, it's
little.
just unfortunate that they have to face almost a fully healthy Rams team
Mhm.
immediately. I
After the
mean, if
Lions.
yeah, they do have a good defense to be able to like kind of combat that. So
Mhm.
they're kind of showing out a bit. We'll see how the rest of that game goes. It's at half right now, 14 all. Both quarterbacks have 2 touchdowns, a little over 100 yards. Kyron Williams
Mhm.
has been like the kind of the star-studded piece on that
I was going to
offense,
say
and he's
he's having
continuing
a
to
day right
prove
now.
that. He has a day every week. I mean, if
Yeah,
you want to talk about guaranteed touchdown machine, it's him. 10 straight
for
weeks
real.
now.
Is
And
it
the
10?
fact that 10, yeah, and the fact that in the offseason people actually thought he was going to lose his job to Blake Corum is hilarious.
That's fair.
So
I did take a little bit of stock into Blake Corum because I thought they'd use him for
yeah,
some goal line packages just because of
and
how he runs the
he's
ball, and then
barely
they
seen
just
the
haven't.
field
Yeah, he hasn't done anything.
because I mean, Connor's just proven in that offense, and they've
Oh
kind
yeah,
of
he's
just
fantastic. Yeah, I
found
didn't buy
him.
into he was going to lose his job or anything like that. That was not a
Yeah,
concern of mine. Um,
yeah,
but
yeah.
um,
So interesting how the rest of that game goes. But yeah, do you want to move into the Sunday slate?
yeah, let's go to that. Again, not a great slate this week. I feel like.
No, I mean we'll touch on your Ravens here just real quick. I don't think there's much to talk about other than Jameis gets to start for the
Yeah,
first
I'm
time.
mildly more concerned about this game, honestly, just with Jameis. Like
It's
that
just
makes me a little bit nervous, and how many of these guys wanted to actually be out there when Deshaun Watson was playing quarterback? Like, did they
no,
just
no, that's fair.
stop
I
giving a
mean,
shit? That was
if you
like a concern.
if if the Browns were fully healthy on offense minus Deshaun, had a full healthy O line, and their wide receivers were competent, then yeah, I'd buy into it. But that's not the case. They're
Yeah,
not healthy on the O line. Their best wide receivers, Jerry Judy, who is a roller coaster in and of itself, and then
yeah, he's all over the
Nick Chubb
place.
is proved last week he can still run the ball, which is great.
Mm,
But now you're going up against a competent defense, so it's just
yeah.
it's
No,
tough. I just don't.
I definitely
I
think this
wouldn't
game is
do
going
it.
to end up being closer than it should be,
Yeah, probably. I mean,
just
you're going to play
because
down
I
to
mean
your
it's
opponent. You're
it's
in
the it's
Cleveland.
not even that, it's the AFC North stuff.
Yeah.
Like those are always just ugly games and never fun for any of us
I
involved.
mean, hey, I would love for the Ravens to stumble and lose that game. It would be quite funny. But I also want to see the Browns, lose every game this
We might
season.
take a week off if they lose.
Fair.
Or you'll just be doing this by yourself next week. You can talk to
I
yourself.
wouldn't do that.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's not
But
much else
yeah,
to say about that. I just,
no, it's yeah,
I am
it
mildly
feels
more
like maybe
intimidated with Jameis than I
yeah,
am with
it could be
Sean.
a little bit of a trap game, but again,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be too worried about it. But
Yeah. All right. I do want to jump into this one because this could be. I just said it to you before we started here. There's two teams that I think could be officially, buried dead in the water
yeah,
this week. So Eagles going to Cincy this week.
it's interesting. We kind of touched on this game yesterday a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll touch on it briefly a little bit more. And I think that's partly why we went so long yesterday is because we kept talking about Sunday
Yeah, we
games
got
and
a little
carried away.
future. Yeah,
But
future driven.
so we'll touch on this game a little bit more. But it's like do or die for both teams. Both teams
Mm-hmm.
need to win. Both teams need to kind of, especially the Eagles this week. This game for them is so important. They win, move to 5-2. Commanders have a tough matchup, and we're going to talk about this game as well against the
Mm-hmm.
Bears, and they might be without their best player. So you're looking at the first place team being down their best player, you finally being fully healthy going into week what is this 8,
Yeah,
giving yourself the best opportunity to win. I think it's going to be an all-out warfare, complete on
yeah.
offense. Neither team really has that defense, so
Mm-mm.
it's you're going to see a lot of offense in this game. Period. I like the Eagles just a little bit in this game. I mean,
I was just gonna say, like, I'm gonna push back on you saying like how important this is for the Eagles right now. I think with the Jaden Daniels injury, that buys them a little bit of leeway. I will say, I think they're going to be
sure,
they're
sure.
they're less, in theory, just talking about pressure, they should be a little bit looser in this game, knowing that there's not as much of a weight on that. Like they can definitely, you know,
Um,
make that race a lot tighter, more interesting with a
I
win.
but
But
to
even
combat that
I'm
a
saying
little
if
bit,
they lose, like I don't know because you don't know how long Jaden's going to be out, and with him most likely being out this week, that does somewhat buy you a little bit. I think.
yeah, sure. I mean, just to combat that, I'd say though, you want every opportunity to get ahead,
Oh, for
especially when
sure.
you're
I'm
the
not
Eagles.
disagreeing with that.
No, yeah.
I just mean in
Especially
the sense of like
if you lose this game when you just won a big one coming out of the bye, you kind of lose all that air. You lose all that momentum you have.
right.
It kind of takes that out of you, especially when you see this team that's in front of you, a little banged up, you're healthy, you can really get after it now.
Mm.
Even the score be 5-2, they're 5-3. You have that slight better percentage at this point, so you're in first now. And I don't know when they match up.
Not for a couple of weeks, I don't think.
Yeah,
But
so
that's
they
what I
play
mean.
week 11. Yeah.
Is like
So
okay if they lose this game and you kind of anticipate Commanders losing with no Jaden Daniels, there's still a half game back.
yeah, but you have that
You
advantage
want it,
now,
yeah, you definitely want that. And
which
I'm
is
just
where
saying,
you
like,
want to be. That's what I'm saying. If you don't
yeah,
have that, and now Jaden Daniels comes back next week,
mm-hmm.
and you lost your momentum, he's back. That offense is ticking
Mm-hmm.
again because it's probably going to be. Let's just be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Offense gets ticking again. Yeah, the Commanders do have to play the Steelers here in a couple weeks, who will be playing them coming right out of the bye, which will be an
Yeah.
interesting matchup. And then immediately after that, they play the Eagles, so
Mm-hmm.
they got a tough back to back week. But until that moment, you need to kind of get ahead of it all, keep that
Yeah,
momentum.
no.
So
Yeah, I agree with that. I was just saying, pressure wise, I think there's definitely more pressure on the Bengals in this spot
no, yeah, I mean
for sure.
obviously,
Because
yeah,
like
they win, they move to 500.
Bengals, well, not even that. They lose this game. They're sitting at 3-4 right now. They lose this game. Steelers and Ravens both win. They both go to 6-2, and then the Bengals are sitting there at 3-5.
Yeah,
Like that's
yeah, they're sitting there at 3-5. They play
that hole's
Raiders,
getting a
Ravens,
lot deeper. You
Chargers.
just they keep digging the hole like that. That puts them in a really tough spot where they you almost have to rattle off. I don't know how many would that be? 3-5. That's 8 games. 9 games left. You got to go what 8-1 down the stretch to have a chance
To
to
what make no
to
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 what
to
if you're
try to win that
3
division.
oh
To
to
try to
win
win
that
that
division
division, and
8-1,
even
yeah,
still, I
probably
mean, okay, even if you go down here for the AFC and you think 9 wins will get you in, you still got to go six and
6 and
three
3. It's
down the
not easy.
stretch.
No. Like
Yeah,
if they lose
and
this
like you have
game,
to, like you
you might as
can't
well
slip up again.
yeah, you might as well pull the plug. But they just have a tough bout right now because they get the Eagles this week, and then in 2 weeks they play the Ravens, then they play the Chargers, then they get the bye, then they play
Mm.
the Steelers, then they go to Dallas to play the Cowboys. So that might as well be a win. Their saving grace is if they somehow stay afloat up until that point, they do get Titans, Browns, Broncos before finishing
Mm.
the year out in
I
Pittsburgh.
mean, Broncos is not like
No,
gimme.
it's certainly not. But at that point, you're gonna know who the Broncos are. That's what I'm
Yeah,
meaning.
yeah. No, I
Yeah,
agree with that. Yeah, that's just the one. It's one of the two intriguing games. Do you want to jump into the other one of those?
yeah, go for it.
Because I think there's like nothing. I mean, Bills Seahawks. We'll come back to that one. But yeah, the other one, just kind of keeping on that same kind of trend there. Cowboys Niners. Both these teams
But
just in
both of
weird
these games
spots.
are kind of yeah. I mean,
Underwhelming to say the least.
Niners are a little bit less just because of the way that division is.
Yeah.
However, they're
But
just
then
going to be
same
in a
thing with
tough spot.
Dallas too. It's
Period.
like Dallas is in a little bit tougher of a spot. You don't really want to fall to 3-4 there.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, they're in a worse spot than the Niners are if they
mhm,
lose, just because of
for
how
sure.
competitive that division is. And
And if
even
you're going to be,
The Giants are even competitive somewhat, at least because they have a competent defense. So
mhm.
playing them head to head, that'll be interesting when they have that in a few weeks. But
And with the way the NFC North is playing right now, like you can almost see a path that there's going to be 4 teams from the NFC North making the playoffs right now.
yeah, I
And so, like, divisions are much more valuable in the NFC right now. Much more valuable.
yeah. So
And both of those
I
teams
mean,
kind of need to get going here.
I think both. I mean, we're on week 8. You're both sitting there treading water. It's not pretty for either of you teams. I mean,
Mm-mm.
this matchup was projected to be, two
You know,
heavyweight bouts on week 1, and now you're looking at two teams on the outside looking in, and it's
yeah,
not getting any better.
in really awkward spots right now.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick a team for uh, this game to win, it's the Cowboys, just because they're slightly healthier. I think they're
I was
getting
going to go
Micah
the
back.
opposite way on that. I kind of like the Niners this week
I
just because of all the Cowboys news that's been like just how
I
loud it's
can't.
been the last like 8 days.
I just can't take a team who's not healthy on offense like that. And they showed how poor they can look when they're not healthy. No, I
True.
get it. Give them a week to kind of prep and get ready.
Mm.
But when your best receiver is Ricky Pearsall right now,
Mm.
who was shot 2 months ago, and he's back on the field already, I can't buy into that. I can't. And
Mm.
you have a hit or miss running back right now without C-Mac. Jordan
Right.
Mason, one
I mean,
week
he
is
should look good this week because that
should.
Cowboys run defense is atrocious right
Yeah, he
now.
should, but that doesn't mean anything. Jordan Mason decides when he's going to show up
That's
because some
true.
some weeks he'll look like a world beater, put up 130 yards, and the next week he'll put
Mm.
up 25. There's no rhyme or
Yeah.
reason to it, especially behind the O line that the Niners have. You should assume that you're going to be able to do that week over week, depending
Yeah.
on obviously who's opposite you. But that's not where I want to put my money.
No, that's fair. I just think with all the fucking insanity that's been going on with the Cowboys between Aikman and taking shots, Urban taking shots, Jerry Jones losing his mind on the radio station, and then
Yeah, but
backing
Jerry
up
Jones
what
doesn't
Aikman
lose
and
his
Urban
mind.
both said, and then taking shots at Mike McCarthy, and then all this stuff with like the
Yeah, that was crazy. But
like. I mean, it's just that's turning into a cartoon at this point. Like, I don't know if Jerry's senile at this point or what, but like,
he's definitely senile. But I
it
think,
is insane right now what's going on
yeah,
there. Like that, it just feels like an SNL skit.
yeah, I think if they're going to get right, it's going to be this week. I'm not saying they're going to get right. I don't think either of these two teams are making the playoffs at this point. Just given
That's fair.
just how much has happened through the first 7 weeks
Mm-hmm.
of football to each of these teams. And it's not necessarily unfortunate. These aren't two teams I root for personally or hope for the best.
Right. Yeah, you just kind of
But
like sit there and you look at like, okay, so if the Rams win tonight, like just speaking of the NFC
yeah,
West,
I
like
mean,
okay, if the Rams win
both of
tonight,
those teams,
you like almost immediately feel better about them than the Niners,
yeah,
between
because they're
health
healthy.
and like the red zone stuff. Like, is the red
Yeah,
zone offense is bad right now for the Niners. You feel better about the Seahawks, weirdly enough, because that defense is healthy, and you kind of think like they're going to get humming, and they're leading the division right now.
yeah,
And then on the Cowboys side of it too, it's like, yeah, Jade Daniels is out, but you feel better about them because, like, okay, if he misses 2 weeks, like, you still feel better about the Commanders than you do the Cowboys. And if Eagles take care of business against the Bengals this week after looking really solid last week, you feel better about them. Like, they're just like
yeah,
just teams that need something to go right for them. And like you said too, like, I don't think either one of these teams is going to get right. It's going to be like a 2018 win
yeah.
for
And then,
one of them, and it's going to be like, yay, both of these teams left a lot of meat on the bone.
hmm I mean, here's the whole thing. They both play first place schedules. So like Dallas,
Yeah.
yeah, they play the Niners this week, They play the Falcons, then the Eagles, then the Texans, then the Commanders. It doesn't get easier. It's
No,
gonna
it
get
doesn't.
harder. So like even if you win this week, you'll have 4 games in a row of first place teams right now. Well, not the Eagles, but the other 3 are first place teams. Eagles can be a first place team depending on what the Commanders do, vice versa. It's not
Yeah.
pretty. And then sure, you get the Giants, but the Giants have a good defense, and that's on Thanksgiving. Then you get the Bengals, and then you get a break with the Panthers, and you close out the year with the Bucks, the Eagles, and the Commanders again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pencil them in for 6 wins right now.
Fair enough. I mean, I had them missing the playoffs this year.
I had them in the
I
playoffs,
believe.
and that's just
you
my
did?
take. Yeah, that's my take.
Yeah, I
on
mean,
Dallas.
like I was on the Niners, like, you know, when we were talking about it before the season started, I was like, they're just due for injuries because like they haven't had like cluster injuries or like major injuries in 2 years, and like unfortunately that's just the name of the game. Like you're gonna end up having those. Your luck's gonna run out at some point.
Yeah, and that was this
point.
Yeah,
and that was one of my favorite underbets going into the year. Was they were at 11.5 wins, and I was like, I don't see them getting to 12.
No, I don't see them getting with 12, especially with the rest of their season schedule that I'm looking at.
Yeah.
I mean, they get the Cowboys this week, then they'll maybe win against bye week next week. And then they go to Tampa, then home against Seahawks.
I mean, the 2 Tampa thing is...
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that. At the Packers, at the Bills. So you play the Packers, Bills away back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Play Bears, Rams. You go down to Miami to get the Dolphins.
Oh, God.
Healthy Miami team. You're just going to get dog walked in that game. Then you're home against the Lions.
Brutal
and
last
then you
like 7 weeks.
It's awful. It is awful. And both of these teams, it's just only going to get worse for them. So sure, one of them will tread water for another week if they win, but it's not going to last.
No.
Unfortunately, these
again, especially teams, just with like how important it is to win a division right now. Like it looks like it's going to be to win a division, at least in the NFC right now, just because of what the NFC North is doing.
Yeah. So if you want to make the playoffs, you're going to have to win your division, and neither of these teams are good enough to win that division. Simple as that. No. Simple as that. So that's all I got to say. Winner will tread water for another week before they get
pretty much
walked in the next one. Niners can't get walked next week, but they still could lose. I don't know. Bye week's always weird. So let's go to a different game here.
Yeah.
Where I lose my mind.
Bills Seahawks. I just want to touch on that game just because, like,
I think it'll be a good game.
That one might be the best game on this slate outside of the Thursday night game.
Yeah, it'll definitely be more of a defensive game than you expect it to be, just because Bills put up points, Seahawks put up points. Seahawks aren't going to have DK. Bills might struggle in the run game a bit in this one.
Again, that's kind of how the Seahawks defense is getting healthy again, and they looked good last week. I think that momentum's going to kind of carry over here. Like the guys are like their starters are back.
Yeah, and I'll touch on that here in a little bit.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing, but yeah,
fair enough.
I think it'll be a bit of a defensive matchup. Person who scores 20 probably wins this game. I think the Seahawks
I can see that. I can see that.
Seahawks might struggle.
If this game is in Buffalo, I feel very different about it.
Yeah.
But I'm being in Seattle.
Yeah, I'm pretty indifferent on both ways this could go. I could see either team winning. Again, I tend to lean best player. Bills have the best player. I lean Bills.
Better quarterback, really, more than anything.
Yeah, that's really it. So I'm going to lean the Bills in this game. And if they lose, again, I wouldn't be shocked. But if they
this is one of those games that's like I won't really feel any different about whoever loses this game.
Yeah, they're two good teams, that's all.
It depends on how they lose. Like if the Bills get boat raced, I have questions. If the Seahawks get beaten down at home, that's going to raise a red flag. But
yeah, and it's a kind of an interesting. It is kind of an interesting storyline though. If the Bills do beat the Seahawks move to 4-4. Then let's flip that script. Let's say the Niners win. They're 4-4. That's weird because I feel way different about both of those teams.
Yeah,
way different.
You could be looking at this after this week. assuming the Rams win tonight, if what you just said happens, you could be looking at Seahawks, Cardinals, Niners 4-4, and then the Rams at 3-4.
Yeah. Vikings are in the red zone though. 4th and goal on the Rams 5. Just figured I'd
You got
give
4th and goal.
4th and goal, yeah.
And I'm just a touch behind you. Yeah, incomplete pass. Huh, what do you look at that?
Puka's 6 for 87.
You want to touch on the Steelers at all? Monday night game?
I mean, if you really want to. I mean, we kind of talked about it a little bit yesterday. Steelers offense was just humming last week. All cylinders go, especially in that second half. If they bring that momentum into this game, which I don't have any doubts they won't. They're going up against a banged up Giants team. And on the flip side of that, the Giants offense hasn't been able to string together anything on offense for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And even with Neighbors back last week, you didn't see any change. So going up against what very well is the best defense in the league, I don't think it's going to change a whole lot.
No, I'm with you on that.
-6 for the Steelers. I can't believe it's that low.
You're getting what'd you say? -6? Was that
-6.
what I had it? I thought it was lower. Oh yeah. No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, I can't believe it's that low. I would be shocked. I was shocked it's not higher. Under in this game is 36.5.
I think Vegas is just as skeptical about that offense as I am.
Yeah,
where it's like because I need to see it again. Yeah, I need to see it again before I buy it.
I said that yesterday. Let me see it again. Let me know it's real. And then you take that into the bye week, really kind of mesh it, and come out swinging because your schedule's about to get pretty hard following that. But going 6-2 into the bye is a lot better than I thought they would be. And that's assuming they handle business on Monday night like they should. And honestly, they were two plays away from being 8-0. So if one play goes differently in Dallas, they win that game. If their offense doesn't stall out on that final drive against Indy, they win that game. So it's just one of those things goes right for them, and it's beautiful. But I'll still take 6-2.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like at least DraftKings in Vegas is kind of thinking the same thing I am right now, wanting to see it another week because it's a 6-point spread, and it's the lowest point total of the week too. Again, it's 36.
I think everybody wants to.
They're telling me this is a 21-15 game, and until I see them go consecutive weeks of,
you're also
with Russ now.
You're also assuming that the Giants are able to put up 15 points in this game, which is
again, I think that's. Yeah. I'm just saying, like that's what this line is telling you.
Yeah.
That's just the math on that.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And if Danny Dimes just gets lucky, just throwing a couple hope and pray fucking balls to Neighbors, like anything can happen when it comes to that. So I want to see it again, and then I'll have a stronger feeling about the Steelers one way or the other. But I just need to see them look really consistently good on offense again.
No,
like they did in that second half.
Yeah, I agree with you. We'll see what happens. One game that I want to touch on real quick that it's more so just because I'm sad than anything else is Bears Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
Jaden Daniels still hasn't practiced yet, and it's Thursday. Thursday, what time is it right now? 10 o'clock. Obviously, he's not going to be practicing right now, but tomorrow's his final day. If he doesn't even limited participant, he's not playing on Sunday. And
I highly doubt he's not playing.
Highly doubt he's playing.
Even before the news that he didn't practice today, I just don't think he was going to. The rib thing, questionable. You go week to week on that. It's you're going to sit him this week, at least.
Yeah.
Especially because Mariota looked good when he came in last week. Again, it's the Panthers, but you talk yourself into that.
Especially because next week you play the Giants, and you definitely want Jaden to be healthy going into Pittsburgh in Week 10. That's where you want him to be full steam ahead against the Steelers, and then you have the Eagles, and then you have the Cowboys. You have 3 pretty important games coming up that you want to be as healthy as possible. So if that is, hey, you got to sit these next 2 weeks just so we can ensure that you're good to go, then that's what we're going to do. Obviously, going into Chicago with this, a little bit tougher. You're at home, but playing Chicago without him, definitely not going to be fun. But you just got to do what you got to do and hope for the best.
Yeah, and I'm looking at on the flip side of this with the Bears here, just looking at their schedule coming down the stretch here. So they're coming out of the bye. That also helps. Just this matchup in general. Even if Jaden was playing, I think it's a very,
Tough.
like they have a much better chance. Coming out of the bye. Caleb is getting better every week. So
yeah, he's settling down.
Assume they win on Sunday. They move to 5-2.
Yeah.
They go to Arizona and then get the Patriots at home.
Yeah.
So they could go on a nice little heater here. Get to 7-2, entirely possible. And I think
for sure. Yeah.
I would say that's they're probably going to be favored in the next 3. I would assume at least. And then they get all their divisional games. So if they're sitting at 7-2, I don't love that for them, but if they're feeling themselves, they're at 7-2. That defense is legit right now. Caleb keeps getting better. If they go 3-3 in division games,
yeah, they're a playoff team. Yeah,
and get to 10 wins, like
they just going to be as wild. Long as they take care of business. That's all.
Yeah, you got to take care of business these 3 weeks because then they go. Like I said, it's all the division games.
At Arizona is going to be tough, but we'll see.
It depends on what version of Kyler Murray shows up in that. It could be a really tough game, or they could just dog walk him.
Yeah,
for 60 minutes.
It's just kind of how it is. So
yeah, and then they get they start all their division games. They get Packers at home, Vikings at home. Then they go to Detroit, and then they get to San Francisco, and then home against the Seahawks mixed into all their divisional games too.
Yeah.
So like they could really put themselves in good shape here over the next 3 weeks, or put a little bit of pressure on themselves to have to win an extra divisional game.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they do.
I think it's
just playing in that division is really going to be tough because
it is.
Unfortunately, they are the worst of those 4 teams, which is
right now they are
bananas. Yeah, which is just bananas to even say out loud. That
for real, they're the worst team, and they could legitimately go 10-7.
Yeah, and then one of you
4th place team.
There's a chance one of you don't make the playoffs. Which is
it's entirely possible. Just because, again, like I keep saying, they might just beat up on themselves. A little bit.
Yeah, they could also stumble. They could take a step back. Mm-hmm. They could not prep well one week, and one team could
Vikings
overplay.
Right now, like they could be going 0-2 out of the bye, and
maybe
some
Drake
real questions.
May by week 10 is an elite quarterback and is proving so. There's a lot of what if still, especially with some of these teams. So
yeah, all right. Any other games you wanted to touch on? Kind of looking ahead here.
I think that was it. There's just a lot of random games this week.
Just a bunch of meh.
Yeah, a lot of meh. I mean, Tua comes back this week, so I'm happy for him. I'm glad they did it in a week where it doesn't really matter. I'm surprised that it's this soon, but I'm happy that he's back.
I'm nervous. I'm just gonna say it. I'm very nervous.
Obviously, you're gonna be nervous for him, and you're gonna hope for the best. And I want him to never get another concussion in his career.
I don't want him to leave the pocket.
Yeah,
I really don't. Sure. I don't want to see him run at all.
That's for sure.
Again.
So I'm happy it's against Arizona, who doesn't have a defense at all. So that's great.
Yeah, for real. We can just play 7-on-7.
Yeah, that'll just be something to monitor on Sunday and going forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of jumping in the fantasy aspect of things, getting to some guys I like this week. One of those names is Jalen Waddle. Him and Tua have that special connection, so having him back out there is going to be very important for Waddle's success and Tyreek's success. But him and Waddle, just ever since he came to the league, have just always clicked. They've always been on the same page, so I like that.
It's almost like they played together in college.
Yeah, almost. Crazy.
I mean, it's crazy how the connection works sometimes.
Yeah. Wow, kind of forget about that. Um, Another guy that I like this week is actually Zay Flowers. Um,
Hey,
he had a rough week last week, but the offense didn't need him. He didn't see the ball a lot.
the
You're
week
thinking the week
before.
before, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw your brain tick. You were like, "That's wrong," and then you're like, "No, no, that's right."
Yeah, I had to think about that for a
The
second.
offense just didn't need him. They were just running
Yeah.
the shit out of the ball, and I don't think um, Lamar really missed passes where he needed to.
Yeah,
Um,
he was feeding Bateman in that game.
yeah. And then
Forgot
I
about
also like,
that.
yeah, I like Jameer as well in this week. Just see
Hmm.
a lot of touches again. He killed it last week, so I just kind of expect that to kind of keep humming. Him seeing a little bit more on the pass, and then kind of just bleeding into week over week with that offense. I mean,
Oh,
just really,
real quick,
yeah,
I think
Demarcus
the Rams just took the
Robinson.
lead.
Yep,
Yeah.
Demarcus Robinson scored a touchdown, so that's
No,
big.
sorry.
No, you're good. Um, Cade Otton, I really like this week. He is the really only pass catching option
I was
there.
just gonna say, yeah.
So, so just
What is it
kind of
gonna
like
be like? Him and
it's
Vita
going to be
Bea
him
is like gonna
and
be who's running
it's
routes
him
this
and
week?
Rashad White just all game long catching passes, and it's going to be like 5 to 10 yard dump downs just all game long. So
Hopefully.
if you have to start him, I like Jordan Love a lot this week.
Hmm.
We talked about him briefly yesterday. I mean, the man just airing the ball out right now. Doesn't care
Yeah.
about anything.
And you're getting a
And
bad Jags defense coming back
yeah,
from London.
it's just going to be a lot of air bombs.
Oh yeah.
Bombs right, dude. And then lastly, I like Najee this week. He's picking it up heavy. Back-to-back 100-yard games with a touchdown, and he's just kind of being the face of that ground game. And when he's getting it going, you can see it that the passing attack's getting going, and it's just kind of all clicking. So as long as
He's
he's
got a
out
little bit of
there,
that like poor man Derrick Henry, where like
and he's
you need the
proving it,
more
and
carries he gets, the better he
it
gets, kind of thing,
wasn't.
because he's just such a violent
And
runner.
it was really hard for me to visualize him in this offense, and
Mm-hmm.
he kind of changed up the way he was running a little bit these
Mm-hmm.
past few weeks, and that's been like nice to see him adjust the offense instead of having the offense adjust to him. So as
Right.
long as he gets going, which I think he will, offense is gonna hum. But yeah, I like him this week. I think he has a good matchup. I mean, yeah, Dexter Lawrence is a little bit scary, but I think they'll be all right.
Yeah.
Some guys I don't like this week. James Cook. I kind of mentioned it a little bit. Going up against a tough run defense in Seattle. Yeah, he
Mm-hmm.
does catch some passes, but I'm not going to bank on that. He was coming off a rough week last week, so I kind of see it happening maybe a little bit again where you're leaning on Josh Allen if you're going to get that win. C.J. Stroud. I don't love him this week.
Mm-hmm.
Going up against the Colts again, they played each other tough week one. So you get that rematch, and he doesn't have his safety blanket, Nico.
Yeah. And
So
after 86
after
yards last week.
after last week, and you saw what he did, I'm curious to see what they're going to do to adjust, and if they're capable of adjusting, or if they're just going to lean on Joe Mixon again to try and get that win.
Yeah.
Other guy I don't like is Terry. Doesn't have Daniels. Curious to see what his connection with Mariota is like in a full week where you guys get to practice. I just don't know what that offense is going to look like against the Bears defense, and he's going to get shadowed all game by Jalen. So
Mm-hmm.
that'll be interesting. I don't love Marv this week either. It's kind of been a null point of that offense these last few weeks, and now he's going up against Jalen Ramsey this week.
Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey for the Dolphins, Jalen Johnson for the Bears. I guess I should specify. You can't just say first names. But yeah, Marv's going to get blanketed all game by Ramsey down there in Miami. Last two guys on this list are Chase Brown and Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert, when everybody's healthy, kind of falls into the background on that offense. And then Chase Brown going up against Philly on opposite sides of the ball.
Yeah.
I think that's just going to be a tough matchup for him, at least on the ground. He is a pass catching back, but even that front seven just, I think, is going to give him some difficulties. And I think eventually they're just going to lean on that passing game pretty heavily. So
Yeah.
that's all I got here.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Last week, 2 and 3 last week on the picks here. However, I still feel good about every one of those
Yeah.
picks. Even in a losing week, like we were right there on all of them. Obviously hit on Chiefs plus 1.5. They went outright. Pittsburgh plus 1.5 went outright. Those two were my favorite two of the week, as is. Chargers minus 2.5 end up losing that game on a last second field goal. Again, I feel like I was on the right side of that one, even when they were going to only probably win by one there. They just weren't quite as. O-line didn't look as good, weirdly enough. And then Vikings minus 1.5 lose on a late field goal there. They lost by 2 on that one. So, again, I was up 1, right there on that one. And then the Browns plus 6, they lose by 7.
It's tough.
It was a tough little stretch there. But again, I feel like I was on the right side of those. Felt good about them. This week, some tougher numbers here. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't love this week. The only one that I feel really good about, my favorite one, I should say, Falcons minus 2.5 against the Bucs here. Bucs reeling a little bit. No Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin. I mean, hopefully Kate Otten does something for them, but I mean, you don't have a ton of faith in that. Falcons kind of got bullied at home last week. Got to feel good about a bounce back game here. A little bit of a get right spot for them.
Yeah, that's certainly
also
a process.
Also, really weird trend going on this year. Just betting against the spread. Away favorites this year are 25, 10, and 2 against the spread, hitting at 71%.
That's pretty good
so far this year. That's wild. It's not usually the case, but this is it's a weird little thing that's kind of going on right now. So makes me want to double down on that one there. Next one I got is Packers minus 4 versus the Jags. Did just kind of talk about that, talking about Jordan Love there. Jags coming back from London, even though they might be used to that as their second home. But that Jags defense is bad right now. And Love might gift them a few picks at some point in time, but damn, that dude just wants to sling it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just going to show up and chuck it. And same kind of thing applies there, away favorites. Hitting at a very, very good clip so far this year. Not much else to say about that one. Another one, injury related here. Got the Bears minus 3 against the Commanders. I just don't think.
It's another. I see the trend for you this week.
I know, yeah. I got 3, road favorites here. Starting to get a little bit smarter here, looking at some trends.
Wow.
Should do that more. That was the one too, because I brought it up with the Vikings playing the Jets, and that was my favorite one of the week when they played in London. Won the whole thing. It was like, oh yeah, favorites in London are 35, 10 and 1 against the spread, and I just decided to not bet the Jags last week. And I knew it too. I knew it the second I saw the score of that game. I was golfing when it happened. I started getting the notifications that Jags were playing well. I was like, you fucking idiot. But, no, Jaden Daniels. I have serious doubts that Mariota is going to be able to do anything that he did this past week. I don't think that he's going to replicate that. I think that was more about playing the Panthers than it was anything else there. So I feel very good about that. That's fair. Yeah. This one, this is my vibes pick of the week. This is just.
Who's got one?
The Panthers plus 10 going to Denver. I don't.
Sure.
Here's the thing.
You do know Bryce is playing.
I do.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you had all the
No, I know. This is
ran that.
This is strictly just vibes, and
okay.
I've said on multiple occasions, I think the Broncos defense is legit. I think the Broncos are a real team. I like Bo Nix. I think he's playing very well. I've had nothing but good things to say about that. However, there's absolutely no reason that a Bo Nix quarterback team should be a 10-point favorite.
Probably not, but it is the worst team in the league.
It is the Panthers. I'm
it's
aware.
it's tough. It's tough. I just, if you get that vibe, typically I just wouldn't bet. But hey, man,
I'm also
all the
again
power
like
to you. Run
I
your
was
vibe.
struggling with some of these numbers here. Like
They're
it
they're
was
pretty astronomical this week. So
just some weird numbers, and that's
hmm
kind of just where I go. Just
it
I
feels like
I
college football, man. Just some of the numbers
I
they're throwing
feel like
around.
I'm gonna eat this one, but
Yeah,
I'm also just like it feels so wrong to
that's
let
fair.
Bo Nix be a 10-point favorite in an
That's fair.
NFL game,
Yeah, that's fair.
regardless of who you're playing. Like
I get that.
it feels very very wrong.
Yeah,
But
and
you
now
know,
say the
hey,
last
it's
one
there.
so I can disagree with you.
I am. This is 3 weeks in a row now. We're going back to
And
the well.
I what was your role about the Colts when they burned you again and again and again?
No, Browns aren't burning me.
They
I'm
burned
one
you
and
last
one in
week.
the past 2 weeks, and
Oh,
I lost
okay.
it by 1 point last week. So like,
All right,
hey,
all
I
right.
have no thing. Yeah, Colts are out. There's another team. Actually, I did want to point that out. There's another one that I'm not betting anymore. Was it the? Might have been the Cardinals. I
That
think it's the
sounds like a bad
Cardinals.
bet.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not. I'm not touching the Cardinals anymore because like I don't. I don't know what they are from week to week.
Mhm.
They're too
Yeah,
frustrating.
sometimes
Like
they're a
if
high
Kyler's
power
feeling it,
offense.
like awesome. But then you bet on him, and he's just like, I played too much Call of Duty this week. I'm gonna, shit the bed
I'm
here a
gonna
little
go.
bit.
I'm gonna go take a nap.
Yeah, for real. Give me a fucking Mountain Dew and a controller. I'll see you guys when the game's over.
Yeah, I mean, who did they play? Oh, they play the Dolphins this week. Yeah, that's a game
Yeah,
I
and
wouldn't
I
touch.
was not. That one I'm not touching either way.
Yeah,
I like, I that one I want no part of. But yes, I'm going back to the well here. Browns plus 8.5
yeah,
against the Ravens here. This is just NFC North, 8.5 points just feels too much. It's too much.
yeah. I mean, I get it. I'm not
Um,
gonna say I
and
don't.
like we
I
said
just think
earlier too,
I
like
can.
Jameis playing scares me a little bit more because like it's Jameis and like without thinking, I don't think he's without even meaning to, he'll probably get at least one bomb
Yeah,
in this game without it. Yeah, like he'll try to throw the ball away and then like hit Jerry Judy or Njoku just like streaking down the sideline for absolutely no reason.
yeah, maybe.
But yeah, so that's it's just NFC North 8.5 points feels like a little bit too much. Yeah, like I don't know 23-16 game
23
that the
16.
Ravens
Yeah,
control, and that's the other thing too. The Ravens just can't put anybody away. They
yeah,
just don't want to do that either.
yeah.
So
I mean, the Browns offense hasn't scored more than 20 all year, so you
mm,
have to feel good about that. So if you hit 20, you're probably winning that game, and they would have to hit 12 for that to be a good bet at that point.
yeah,
So you're banking more so on this is what you're doing, and I just want
mm,
you to think about this. You're banking on the most high-powered offense in the NFL right now to not score more than 24 points this week. Think about that. No,
that's
think
fair.
about that.
I
Think about that.
understand that.
Against
I'm
not a
also
good
looking
defense.
at this team, a team that was up at one point in the Bucks game last week. Probably the best offensive game they've played all year. They
Up
were
by like
up
24. I think it was like 24.
34-10 at one point, and then
Yeah,
41-18, and then that game finished. They were up 41-18
with 5 minutes
with
left.
6.5 minutes left,
Place
and
my
that
house.
game finished 41-31.
Yeah.
So, like, there is that part of it, too. Also, Lamar is coming off of an insane game.
So
I'm,
the difference
yeah,
between the Bucks and the Browns is that the Bucks have proven multiple times this season that they can score. The
yeah.
Browns have not. Even I don't care if it's Jameis. I just don't, because the rest of that offense still isn't good.
Oh,
Jameis, when he was in
that's fair.
Tampa, had not two MVP, two All Pro slash Pro Bowl level wide
Mm,
receivers that could make plays, and
mm.
he had a deep ball man in Brashard Perriman, and he had a good offensive line. That's not the case. That's different.
That's fair. He also has a better coach than he did at any point in time in Tampa.
No, yeah, obviously, but
So there's that. And then
I
also
just,
too, like, okay,
I,
like if this game is 24-10, in the fourth quarter, there's like 8.5 points. It leaves it wide open for a backdoor cover.
Yeah.
That's the other part of it too. Is just like, and the way that the Ravens finish games is like, again, if it's 24-10 with a minute and a half left, they'll take their foot off the gas there a little bit, and then Cleveland can score quick, and we're at 24-17, and we cover.
Cleveland can score quick.
Jameis Winston, again, I just said he will accidentally throw a ball.
Or
score quick in the sense that, like, okay, they get the ball with 4 minutes left, and it's 24-10, and they somehow kill enough clock.
It's just like, it's just the offense I haven't seen enough. Granted, yes, we haven't really seen with Jameis, correct.
Yeah.
But I can't trust the rest of that offense. I can't. That's it. But, again, if that's where you're going to bet this week, that's fine. I know we already dumped into this game enough already.
If the Ravens run them out of the building, I won't bet the Browns anymore this year. You happy?
Yeah, because you shouldn't be bet the Browns, period. It's bad. It's a bad
idea. I'm 1-1 betting the Browns right now.
Yeah, but the one week where it made it work for you, who they played?
They played the Eagles.
Did they? They played the Eagles. Okay.
Out of the Eagles bye week.
Okay. That was just a weird game. I'll give you that.
That was Nick Sirianni's Britney Spears meltdown era.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, you're right. But yeah, that was weird. I'll give you that one. I don't know. It's just tough for me to at any point be like, yeah, I'm gonna put any money on that game. Me personally, I would just stay away from it. That's all. I also just don't bet.
That's
because
fair. I also just don't.
Decisions.
Well, I kind of like the pain a little bit. Also, again, like there's a lot of weird numbers this week, and nothing that I felt overly comfortable about. And
I get that. You got to take a slight risk somewhere,
and we're doing it a little bit later too, so I'm getting worse numbers because now all the big money's coming in, and that's what really shifts these lines.
Which is unfortunate, but it kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough yelling from me tonight.
Yeah, fair enough. You got anything else for this week?
If I'm lucky, no.
All right, fair enough. Cool. Then let's get out of here.
All right, man. Let's get out of here. Let's let these people sleep.
Yeah. Have a good night.